Why can't I stay consistent with exercise? Have you ever asked yourself that question? I've been asking myself that question for a good chunk of my life because I've started, then stopped again, then started, then stopped again. And what I pretty much have done for my entire life was restart, restart, restart. Every time I would do a program for 2 days, miss a day, and then I'd say, screw it, let me do a different program. And I would just keep trying new things. And I thought that that was the answer and that I was eventually going to stumble upon the perfect program that matched perfectly with my skills and abilities and allowed me to be super consistent right off the bat. But then I realized that there is a simple skill within and underneath consistency that really enables you to be consistent. And it's not trying harder, it's not even discipline. Stick around to the end and I'll explain all about that skill. But to start off, let's break down what consistency actually is. Consistency is not perfection. Consistency is not doing absolutely everything in your program all the time, never missing a day. That is not consistency. That is perfection. And we are not striving for perfection. We are striving for consistency. What consistency actually is sustained participation. It just means you wake up today, you participate in whatever it is that you're supposed to be doing to the best of your abilities, giving everything you have at that current moment, whatever is available within you, giving that. And then waking up the next day and doing the same thing again. Some days you're going to wake up and you're only going to have 30% in your tank. So you're not going to do your full workout. You're not going to hit a PR that day. And that's okay. You're not supposed to hit a PR every single time you work out. If you did, then working out would be significantly easier to stay consistent with because you would constantly be seeing results. The consistency is going to come from being okay with not getting results and not seeing progress on a micro scale. Because if you look at your body every single day, you could lose 50 pounds. And if you look at your body every single day, you're not going to see much of a change from day to day. But from the beginning of the journey to the end of the journey, when you actually have lost those 50 pounds, you will see a great difference from left to right or top to bottom, however you put it. Okay, so consistency is just about giving what you have present at that moment every single day of your life. And then the other thing we want to look at is the fit. Okay, look at the plan that you have and look at your real day-to-day life. Because, if you create a plan in a vacuum or you find some random plan on the internet and it's saying do like 12 sets or 12 exercises or something ridiculous that you don't really need, but you think that, oh, it's more work, so I must be getting faster results. And then you try doing that and it's just way too much for you and you can't sustain it. Well, if you can't sustain it, then you can't be consistent with it because consistency means sustainable. Whatever you're doing, it has to be sustainable or you will not be able to be consistent with it because consistency is sustained participation. Okay? So look at your plan, look at your real life, and notice where there's friction, where things don't align. If things do align and you look at what you have in your plan and you know that you can do this sustainably and consistently, then change nothing. Okay, and then look at your ideal life versus your actual life, because we might come up with a plan and we might have all these ideas and we might go on a bender and watch all these personal development videos where they're telling us just do the work, sleep when you're dead, wake up at 4 a.m. and all these little pieces of advice that they're giving and trying to get you pumped up so you go in the gym. And you come up with this plan that you're going to go on the winter arc and you're going to lock in and you're finally locking in like you've never locked in before. But the thing is, you've locked in, you just haven't been able to sustain the lock in. So we want to build something that's more sustainable and less extreme. Okay, you don't have to wake up at 4 a.m. You don't have to work out 6 days a week. You don't have to work out for 90 minutes. You can work out 3 to 4 days, okay, for 45 minutes at a time. You can wake up at pretty much whatever time your day demands of you. Okay, if you're waking up at 4 a.m., then you better be going to sleep at like 9. Okay, if you're going to sleep at midnight and you're waking up at 4, I'm sorry to tell you, but one, that's not sustainable, and two, that's not good for you. So let's move away from the extreme, advice and, sayings that people have, and all these ideas of grind culture that are going to get you to do something that is like so, you think it's so impressive seeing that somebody can do that. But try doing that for 60 days straight and then 60 more days. If you can't do it for 60 days in a row, then it was too extreme. We don't need extreme. We just need consistency. Okay, consistency is a superpower. Look at your plan, look at your real life, see how those things align. If they don't align, then simplify it. One of the ways we can simplify it is look at the dosage. Okay, a lot of times the dosage is too high because we think that by doing more we're going to get progress quicker. But then what's going to happen is you're going to do more for 4 to 5 days, and then you're going to feel burnt out, and then you're going to miss 3 days. And then you're going to oscillate back and forth between grinding super hard and then burning out and doing nothing. And then grinding super hard again. And not even just that, but since you missed 3 days because you were burnt out, now you're trying to work even harder and make up the lost time. But you can't make up the lost time. Once a day is over, that day is gone forever. So we need to figure out how we can do something every single day and still progress. Okay, things can be too hard or too easy. What we want to find is this X right here, which is the sweet spot, which is difficult enough to elicit a growth response and an adaptation response, but not so difficult that you can't do it sustainably. Okay, so it has to be hard enough, but not too hard. It is really simple. That's all you need to look at when it comes to dosage. Can I do this forever? If you can't, then is it too hard? If you can do it forever, then ask yourself, is it hard enough? Okay, so just ask yourself some of these questions. Is it hard enough to elicit a response? Think about it. Your body is not going to lose fat unless you demand your body to lose fat. You have to give it the proper nutrients, the proper level of activity and exercise, and the appropriate rest to demand your body to lose that fat, because you're saying we are intaking enough calories and we are using enough of our body that we can dispose or dispense with some of this fat. And that's how your body is going to lose fat over time. If you just do something that's so extreme, you start eating 1,000 calories a day and you start working out for 90 minutes every day, well, that's going to be way too much for your body, and it's not going to want to lose that fat because it doesn't know when it's going to get its next meal because you've been starving yourself. Okay, so there's a lot of nuance to that, but just ask yourself, look at these things. Look at the difference between the plan and your real life, how those things align or don't align. Look at the dosage. Is it too hard? Is it hard enough? Or is it not hard enough? The other thing is we want to be able to adapt, have a plan B. Okay, let's just say you wake up one day and you feel like absolute shit. Don't do nothing. Don't skip. Don't have a 0 day. Move from 60% intensity to 30% intensity. Instead of doing 10 sets, do 5 sets. Or have a plan B. Instead of going to the gym, go into your basement and do a couple sets of body weight squats. Just do something. Okay, instead of doing 4 exercises, do 2. These are just some examples of, if it's not hard enough, you can make it harder. Okay, and this goes conversely. Let's just say you're having a really good day. Adapt to that. Let's say your plan said to go to 60% that day, but you feel really good. Then feel free to push to 70, but not to 90 and not to 95 or 100. We don't need to be extreme, okay? I just want to really like cement that in your mind that you do not need to be extreme. All the extreme measures that they promote in grind culture, in the manosphere, in the red pill, the alpha male, all these guys are promoting stuff that you're going to do for 5 days and feel like a boss. But then on the sixth day, you're going to feel like shit and you're not going to be able to do it sustainably. And that's all we want is sustained participation, consistency. Okay, so look at the plan, look at your real life, make sure things align, check the dosage, make sure the dosage is appropriate. And this dosage is going to fluctuate dependent on, the condition of your body. Like if you wake up one day and you're sick, then okay, that's an appropriate time to rest. But that day still do something. It doesn't mean you have to do something physical, but now do something, focus more on your nutrients, intake more nutrients, get your vitamins, make sure you drink lots of water, get some sunlight, get adequate rest, get a little bit more sleep than you normally would. So this dosage is going to fluctuate based on your present condition. If you're sick, if you're not sick, if you're feeling good, if you're feeling great, or you're feeling exhausted, or you're feeling burnt out. All these different variables are going to change the appropriate dosage for that day. And then being adaptive, being able to recognize when you are not in the right state to be doing 60% on this exercise, or that, you feel so burnt out, you can barely get yourself out of bed. Okay, probably don't hit 80% intensity. Probably don't hit and try to hit a PR on the squat. Just go in, do a couple exercises, even at very light intensity, do like 15 reps with something that you could do 20 reps for. These are all just different examples of how you can adapt and change the dosage, change how the plan fits with your real life, making sure everything is in alignment. That is going to allow you to sustain participation. That is going to allow you to unlock consistency. And the one skill that you've been waiting for is this simple, simple word that I wish I heard a decade ago. This would have saved me so much time and effort, is return. Okay? A miss doesn't equal failure. If you missed a workout, don't restart. Don't screw up on Friday and say, I'll start again on Monday. Don't do that. Just return. Okay, master the art of return. Returning is a skill. Returning means returning to the participation that you engaged in when you started this plan. Okay, I've been working with a coach, and there have been a couple days that I was just not feeling good, and I just was all over the place, and I was working, and I let my life get in the way, and I struggled to hit my calories and get all my protein in. But guess what? I didn't say fuck it, and I didn't just say, okay, well, let me just not work out tomorrow then. I just went to the gym the next day, and guess what? I just did cardio for 30 minutes. It doesn't have to be extreme. You don't have to be extreme. You don't have to take drastic measures. You just have to do something. Return. Okay? That is it. This is the master formula to being consistent. Participate. Participation just means being engaged and doing what you have in you to do. Okay? If you knew better, you would have done better. But now you know better, so do better. Okay? Once we have participated, then we want to be adaptive. We want to recognize when we should go harder, when we should go easier. And don't let your mind get in the way of going harder, where your mind's going to try and convince you to go easier a lot of the times. You have to be able to recognize that your mind is trying to get you to go easier and go harder anyway. Okay, so that's where it gets a little bit more nuanced, and it's a little bit more complicated than I'm explaining in this video, but that is the whole thesis of this video. Participate, adapt, adjust the dosage, adjust the intensity to match your present condition. Okay, when you fail or you miss, return to the path, and then continue. Just continue from where, for instance, if you have a program, let's just say you're supposed to work out on Monday, Tuesday, rest on Wednesday, and then work out on Thursday and Friday. Let's just say you work out Monday, you work out Tuesday, you rest on Wednesday, and then you miss on Thursday. Well, instead of waiting and missing the rest of that week and then starting back on Monday and Tuesday, rest on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, just go in on Friday and do what you were supposed to do on Friday. Don't even try to do what you missed. Just do what you're supposed to do that day. Do what's in the plan. Follow the plan. That's all you need to do, and you will become consistent. Okay, stop making it hard. Stop making it complicated. Just find a plan. Okay, find a plan. You must have a plan, but find a plan that aligns with your real life. Create an ideal version of your life that aligns with your actual capabilities at this present moment. Adjust the dosage, make it harder or less hard depending on your present state, and make sure that you're challenging yourself enough to elicit growth, but not doing so much that you can't recover from it. And then adapt as you go, because not every day is going to be the same. Some days you're going to feel on top of the world. Adapt. Go for a PR that day, maybe. But some days you're going to feel like shit and you're barely going to be able to get in the gym. Well, then just do something. Give it 30%. Just do something. If you follow everything that I've said in this video, this is basically the formula that I wish I had a decade ago. My life would have been so much easier if I had the idea to just return and had the idea that, the consistency is born out of the quality and alignment of your plan. If you have a plan that is not in alignment with your real life, you are not going to be able to sustain it. If you can't sustain it, you will not be consistent with it. And then you will basically be in this vicious cycle of starting, stopping, restarting, stopping, and so on and so forth. Okay? Participate in your life, adapt to the present conditions, return when you miss, and then just continue on the plan. And that's it.